We are streaming. Hey, I can see your arm, Juggernaut, but that's it. You can pick up your hand. Go ahead, pick up your hand. See, that's as far as we can see.
Alright.
And we're good. Now my volume goes all the way down. This time I hope I actually remember to turn it back up, or I'm going to miss people again. Okay, so there we go. Alright, so glasses on, tacky Hawaiian shirt on, Necro Nick probably wearing the same thing he's been wearing since last time. And let's find out, shall we? Don't you start with me, computer. Don't you start with me. That's what I thought, the high encoding. Oh, Nick, that might as well just be a hello. Shut up. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. And thank you for joining us once again, the Modern Stars of Gaming. I'm KaijuK, and with me here is Juggernaut Jared.
Yo.
And Necro Nick.
What?
And it's come to our attention that it's time. Now, we've had a lot of fun. We've talked a lot about games. We've talked about the good, the bad, the happy, the sad. We've talked about a whole lot of issues. But now it's come down to the final day. The day you guys have all been waiting for. Today, the three of us are going to pitch games to you. Now, sometime during this video, I don't know when, probably at the end of it, they'll pop up a poll. I'm just going to ask you to please take the time, listen to each of us, and then choose which one of them seems like the best game. Now, it's no hurt feelings towards us. No. We just want to see that you, the viewer, the gamer, the modding community, whatever you want to call yourselves, which one do you think is your choice? Now, and of course, instantaneously our stream's health dies, even though we have this set on better settings. I don't know why. Screw it. I'm done. And our chat's disconnected already. We haven't even started and already our chat's down. What the fuck? Necro, I really think that we have to talk about getting a new internet provider. We really do. Alright, so I'm going to set the settings to 60 seconds again. Enable slow mode, enable live chat. Settings are being changed, and well, if you can watch, if you can listen, it'll pop up at the end. Please just poll us, and if you can, send us a message. Send us a message. If you can't, and you happen to have one of our email or one of our phones, just send us a message through the phone, and we can ask and answer it that way. Yep. Until we figure out why the hell Verizon is the worst internet company ever. Shots. Go
with Metrocast.
Huh?
Go with Metrocast.
Who said?
Subs girl.
She said that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we might have to go with Metrocast. And hi, by the way. So, what we're going to do is each of us is going to take a turn to explain to you, as good details we can, the idea of our game. Now, it might stutter a little, but you can hear our voices, so excuse that. I've tried this. I actually think this is running the smoothest it's run ever. This is pretty smooth running, according to the computer I can see over in Jared. How smooth is it?
Thing is, the live light was not red, so it's not live. It's not live. It's going to be delayed, but it's good enough.
I just want to know, is it looking better than it was? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's all I need to. If you go to our YouTube page, there's a new playlist called Helping with YouTube, which I'm going to start adding videos that I've watched that helped me with YouTube. A gentleman has showed us how, with a weaker computer and a weaker internet connection, which we have a weak internet connection, how you can make it work slightly better. And this is working slightly better, so I can't be held, in any regard. So what we're going to do is we're each going to take a minimum amount of time. I've suggested 10 minutes minimum. Now, that's a minimum time limit. That's not a maximum. These guys can take as long or as short as they want, but each one of us is going to take a time to explain to you what our idea is on a game. Now, these are games that we feel that we ourselves would play to death. If these games were made, I guarantee you there'd be Let's Plays done by each one of us, and they'd be explicit, violent, or not violent, whatever you want to say. So, we're going to take the time, we're going to take the chance, we're going to look over here at the big J himself, Juggernaut Jared, and Juggernaut Jared with, is it going to come in? Oh, well, my phone says 10 minutes on it. With 10 minutes, Juggernaut, take us away. So, Juggernaut, the title of your game is What If?
Yes.
Take us there, Juggernaut.
What if a major event happened? that changed how our history was, changed how our universe was perceived. What if you and a group of other people could change it back to the way it was?
Oh, I'd like to say, before we go any further, I'd like to say, hi, Kitten! That wasn't Sub's girl. That was Kitten of Doom! It's okay, keep going, keep going.
Sorry. What if, every choice you made in this game really, really screwed up this alternate universe? That's pretty much the premise of the game. It feels like you're in a movie. The sound, the graphics, the fact that you can go and play with players across the world, as well as in your home. The fact that you can go and not have to play multiplayer. First-person shooter, damn straight.
So give us an example of what you mean by how a choice would affect the world. Just give us an example.
Alright, you're going up against... You've got two doors. Behind one door, big boss. Really tough, but a lot of loot. Behind another door, his minions. Fairly weak, but not a lot of loot.
Okay.
If you go through the one door with the minions, yeah, it'll be easier. But it won't change... It'll change the gameplay less than if you went up against the big boss.
Like, what kind of gameplay change are you talking about, though?
It would be a lot... You're taking the safe path.
But how would that affect the game? Like, if you take that path, does the enemy get away? Does the boss escape? Does he make a break for it and destroy half a city? I mean, this is what we're talking about.
The boss pretty much goes on a rampage.
Alright, so you deciding to take his minions down instead causes the boss to go on some kind of rampage.
Right.
That affects you.
Right.
Alright, see? That's you're gonna pay for it, by the way, she says.
I apologize.
Wow. Keep going, though. Keep explaining. Keep explaining. You got time. Keep going.
You go and your choice of weaponry is massive. You can use everything from the sharp, pointy stick to the BFG type weapon from Doom.
Okay, so you can use the smallest weapon to the largest weapon. Okay.
What does BFG stand for?
Biological feedback gun. Continue, Jared. He's pitching the game.
You can...
If you have to look at your notes, look at your notes. Go ahead. There's no rule. Look at your notes.
You can...
Give him a second, folks. Give him a second.
Give me a second.
He's got to get to his notes. It's okay. He's cool. Can you take a peek at your notes? Take a deep breath. You got time.
The endings. All of your endings. Whatever you do in the game causes the ripple effects that change what ending you can get at the end of the game.
So, right. So, depending on what your choices are, they will have a detrimental or positive effect in the game.
Right.
Cool. Keep going.
With the ending tree, it could be, hell, you could save the president or have him get killed. But you get to choose what major event gets changed in history.
Interesting concept.
I mean, there are certain weapons and items and characters that are locked in the game, but using microtransactions, nothing that you would really have to pay out of pocket, using in-game money, you can unlock those weapons or characters or anything. Download patching.
Okay, Aren't you glad we got you the drink?
Yeah.
Aren't you glad we got you the drink
Yeah.
now, huh?
Smart ass.
When we started this, he said he didn't need a drink. Yeah, well, now look at him.
There's a lot of co-op that can be done in the game. People from one region and your group can join forces to take down any extremely hard bosses. You split everything, like one group and your group split it down the middle, and then you divide it through. Whoever was the, most helpful gets more of the.
Whoever provided the
Yes,
most to the team.
whoever provided the most support or to the team gets more of the loot than the other ones.
Makes sense.
The AI, realistic. If you're level, say 10, the AI will always be 2 or 3 levels below you, except bosses.
Well, yeah.
Because you make bosses that low, what's the point in having them?
Right. Man.
There's going to be a lot of region-specific events.
Okay.
If you're in, say, China,
Okay.
and you join a North American server,
Mhm.
you may be able to join in those, but you won't get the area-specific loot that it drops.
Okay.
I mean, you can join and help, but
Gotcha.
You're just gonna get regular game loot instead of
Right.
the area Pacific.
All right, keep going.
tutorial. If you play through the tutorial, you will get better things in the beginning, better gear, than if you decide to skip the tutorial. Which I'm not saying you're going to get screwed over with the tutorial if you skip it. It just won't be as good as if you went through it. Different places in the game are going to have may have like hidden passages that you could skip through to go to another area. I'd want the table of contents, the chapters. You can go back and into, say, an earlier chapter and be able to play it on a different difficulty.
I was gonna say, with the whole chapter idea that you have, are they gonna be a star reward system?
You beat it once, you can go back, beat it a second time. It's a lot harder.
Okay.
The more you go back to a certain chapter, the harder it gets.
Increasing the loot, though.
Right.
Okay.
Increasing the loot, but increasing a lot. For an example, if you go back to, say, Chapter 2, a third time, there will be a lot more enemies, the AI will be tougher, but the loot that the main boss will drop will be way better.
Probably on par with, Chapter 3 or 4.
Right.
Okay.
Loot.
Okay.
I could see that happening.
Of course, there would be no age restriction. Which I know a lot of people would say, well, why not have an age restriction? You have to pretty much enter your birth date before you can even play the game.
Right, but even if you do that, people can fake it.
I know.
But keep going. Don't stop us. You're pitching it. Go.
The age restriction, the age restriction would actually help the game a lot more too, because if you've got younger players that need help from older players that know how to play the game, players that are in, say, Chapter 5 can go back and help the younger players that are just beginning to play. They don't get a lot of the loot that's dropped, but they get a little bit of a reward for helping the younger players, the ones that
The
don't.
way I can see that working is how the younger players set up the lobby,
Right.
and
That's pretty much.
that way it goes to the.
It's
person
similar
that
to
started.
it goes with the Borderlands, the Call of Duty, the lobbies. It goes with a lot of that. The character, the age of the character progresses in real time. So does the world. December northern hemisphere, you'd see snow. It would be a lot of progression with most of the character. If you die in the game and you say had kids in the game, all that stuff, you can choose one of the kids that you had. All that stuff and all that experience that you had will go to that child that you had.
Gotcha.
No one missing something.
You have a list. Go with it, man. I have a list.
Online, offline gameplay. I don't know if I mentioned that one.
Yes, you did, but don't worry. Keep going.
Oh, side missions. Side missions actually mean something. Side missions and mini games that would actually mean something as well. Side missions meaning something is actually is something that I would have actually wanted in some of the games that I've played. The side mission actually gives you loot that you can use, not just, 10 gold here or 15 gold there.
Alright.
It's monetary and weapons and armor, and you can even change classes using any loot that you would get. You can change classes in the middle of the game, where if you need someone who can pick locks but don't have it, you yourself or a member of the party could go to a specialty shop and learn how to pick locks.
Okay.
But it's pretty much, it's pretty much just a non-standard first-person shooter.
Alright.
You can use your social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If any of your friends there play, they can join you. They can join your party. They can even, if they go and they start up, but you're farther ahead, you can backtrack and help them out. Again, you don't get all the loot.
Right. But you do help them out.
But you help them out and you help them level up faster.
Alright.
Pretty much it.
With your whole Facebook and social media being involved, would there be special events that are announced on there?
Yes, there would be special social media events.
Okay.
Would they give you special skins if you have certain ones like Facebook or
Yes.
Okay.
It would be a lot like Paladins was.
Okay. There's one thing that you did not touch on that I want you to.
What?
Wait, before he does that, there was a question asked. I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you there. Kitten of Doom stated, and I just wanted to make sure I vouch for you because I think I understand where you're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
But she stated, so the side missions would contribute to the storyline and not just be fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. See, even his side missions have effects in the gameplay.
Yep.
For instance, let's say that one of the things he has to fight is some kind of leviathanal creature, some giant Cthulhu-esque creature from another dimension that's just wrecking havoc.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of the side missions would go get him some equipment, and maybe by doing so, some kind of ritual would happen that, it would weaken the monster a little, or change its direction, or make it target him instead of going after civilians.
Yes.
Okay, now what did you want him to touch up on? Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
Oh, no problem. you mentioned that you want a highly graphic game.
Yes.
What kind of graphics are we talking about?
Movie. I already said it's like you're in a movie.
If you guys want to know what kind of graphics he's looking at, either now or later on, we'll keep talking. Look up a game called Detroit Becoming Human. This game has amazing graphics. It sucks that it's only a PlayStation exclusive, but the graphics on it are spectacular. Down to being able to see like teardrop and different skin alterations.
You can be able to count the number of hairs on the head.
Right. He's looking at that kind of graphics.
Yeah.
Where everything is realistic. Everything you see will be realistic, and that's the real bite of his game. That's the thing I like the most about his game. Besides the fact that Besides the fact that everything you do in the storyline, from beginning to end, will alter how it ends. Everything you do, everything that somebody helps you do, every time you go and help somebody, will have some kind of alteration on your history. So it's kind of like, what if, wink, see, here's the title,
Yep.
It actually did that.
It would also be VR compatible.
And it's VR compatible. Wow, okay, that's a hit to the teeth. Now, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Is that your game?
That's it.
All right, folks. I'd like to give a few moments and give a good clap. Juggernaut Jared, that's the very first game. Don't think this is the last time we're doing this, though, folks. This is the first time. I make a promise on this day and this day alone. If we reach 100 subscribers or 8,000 views, we'll go together and we'll try to throw together a brand new game. And hopefully, just maybe, somebody will see this. Right. And maybe, just maybe, certain members of the TMOG crew, wink, Kitten of Doom, Reaper Rose, might be able to just throw us in their ideas. And maybe, even if they're not here, we can still read them off to you guys.
Yep.
Now, Juggernaut, his What If game, will be one of the 3 choices in the poll. The poll should be happening either anytime now or at the end. I don't know. This is the first time using a poll card, so you'll have to forgive me.
We're just hoping it works right.
The graphics would limit players who don't have computers compatible with those specs required to run it. Yes, we do know. We do know that his game would hold a huge graphical interest, but like I said from the beginning, this is the kind of game that Juggernaut would play.
Mm-hmm.
So
these are games that we want.
These are fantasy games.
Now, don't worry, not all of us have that graphic. In fact, I got real low graphic choices. Don't worry about me. But now, I'd like to bring this opportunity to bring the Punisher-wearing shirt of them all, Mr. Necro Nick, please.
But these are like our fantasy games that we would want.
Yep.
Tell us how a game would look through your eyes. What's the title of your game?
How a game would look through my eyes. Or our eyes, I believe.
Okay, so start.
Okay. Well, first off, my game is all about customization. Down to the way you want your character to look, to your customizations making your class.
All right.
Or you could change your class, like per se, with the whole clothing that you'll pick at the beginning. They'll give specific things to, per se, sneaking, obviously making you more of a stealthier character.
Right. Obviously, running around in a bright orange parka is going to be kind of hard for you to hide. Or perhaps somebody running around with bright pink hair and a bright pink miniskirt would make it real hard to miss you, Sakura. But I get what you're saying. Obviously, black on black is easier to hide.
But, like, they'll give you special, even, like, combat abilities, per se, if you have weighted armor, it hides your power or makes people think that you're weaker until you're like, okay, bring it. You just see this weight drop off you, and then you're hitting them at max speed.
Right. In other words, the weight of your clothing will also affect you.
Right.
Okay, keep going.
Also down to, per se, helping you with your jobs. Per se, if you are an instructor for rock climbing, you're going to have a lot of rock climbing gear or something like that. It could help you all the way down to that.
All right.
But also customization down to from your hairstyle, down to your teeth, your eyes, how it all looks. There will be presets if you just don't want to go that much into detail. I'm a big fan of detail, that's why I'm doing it.
All right.
But to start my game off, I would pretty much show off a starting trailer where it says, "The world is in your hands. You decide what it does with it. You decide where the history comes from and where it goes." And that's where it opens up to the world being smashed by meteors, wiping off the history of dinosaurs.
Okay.
My game is all based off of real events.
Well, you haven't even explained what your game is yet.
Well, it's kind of a point. I'm explaining a trailer here, man.
All right.
You come on, let me get on with this. Kind of stopping me here. Quit glaring at me.
I'm waiting for you to move on.
Okay. Quit glaring.
I'm not glaring. This is how I look without my glasses.
Put your glasses back on.
Can't they glare?
Anyway. So you see the world getting smashed by meteors, and then that's where you would choose your customization, choose like a starting class. You'd start off in like the caveman era. It's an RPG first off, so it's a massive RPG where it's completely open world to everyone. Multiplayer is accessible as well from the start of the game. You don't have to go through any tutorials if you don't want to. There are bonuses if you do. You know, like you'll get better gear to start off or something like that as a bonus. Oh, what should we call it? So, like, from what you would start off in the caveman area, you would start off by making your own food or gathering your own food, foraging pretty much, to survive. What are you laughing about?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay.
It wasn't you. It was just...
Foraging is always necessary. I love foraging in games. It creates a new aspect of survival, which is another aspect of my game. So you gotta forage for wood, try and keep heat, obviously. Maybe spiders, or, well, not spiders, but silk. So that way maybe you could start trying to weave clothing later on once you get, you know, more knowledge of how to do that. By either just watching a spider, see how they weave their own webs, and see if you could learn from that, or you come through a culture that already knows how to. Because there are going to be non-playable characters, NPCs, which are going to be cultures throughout the whole game. Then you'll move on to like the next era. What would be the next era?
I guess you'd go from like primitive to like kind of like maybe like the Dark Ages maybe would probably.
That's
be
what I was
best,
thinking,
you
like
know.
medieval kind of. Oh,
Well, depending on where you are, let's just use the term Dark Ages.
Dark Ages.
Because depending on where you could be, you know, a medieval knight, a samurai, a Mongolian warrior.
Right. Then you would move into that age, and nonetheless, like through the caveman age, you would deal with realistic events that we would have in our history of anything that majorly happened.
Like, for instance, like major snowstorms, food shortages, things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then once you move up into the darker age, that's where more things could happen that are more detrimental to the storyline. If anybody here has watched our last live stream, we touched a little bit of base on that, of per saying like stopping one major war may create another major war in the long run.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Your randomization, like the one of the randomizations you gave was for Pompeii.
Right.
Now you go to Pompeii and then you realize that the volcano is going to erupt, so you can save the people. But what does that affect? What comes down? What does the coin cost at the end?
Yep. And that's pretty much what the whole game's going to be based off of. It's somewhat of Juggernaut's idea with the whole, you know, minions and whatnot, but at a larger scale.
Right. So you can when you enter certain time periods, because of the knowledge you would have now, that you know you've gone to history class or whatever for, you know ahead of time certain events would be happening.
Right.
It would be up to you to decide to either let the events happen, or to try to stop them, try to alter them, or heck, even join in them to see if there'd be some kind of different outcome.
Right.
Okay, I like this effect.
Pretty much through our eyes, you go from the past all the way to the future, the unknown of our world, which is after the time that this is made, or the game, if it ever does get made, would become your own storyline in the future. This is where you completely have control over everything, compared to where you had set storyline or set settings.
So what you're saying is, up until that point in the game, you're basically following a storyline.
Yeah.
But when you reach this point in the game, the future era, if we will, now you can go back and you have complete control. You can go back and see what happens if you alter this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool.
I like it.
My game is also going to be kind of visually based off of Nier Automata.
Nier Automata. If you want to go look that game up, folks, go ahead and keep listening to us. He's talking about that graphical style. Kind of a realistic style, but it definitely has an anime feel to it.
Yes. Kind of grittier in points, too. I mean, we've watched plenty of videos on it. It has somewhat of a dark aspect in some places, but...
If you guys want to see good gameplay, sorry to stop you, go look up Halloween. He's the guy you want to watch. He has fun with that game.
Okay, with, like, whole skill ideas, you're going to be able to do whatever you want. You're literally... If you want to be a flame-wielding mage in one hand and a... chainsword person in the other, you can't. But it's kind of also got to be based off of your era.
And that
You know.
kind of is.
Huh?
I'm kidding.
You going, Nick?
You're going.
Obviously, back in the whole caveman era, you're not gonna be able to wield magic per se. You might be able, with higher resources, you might be able to create more things that other civilizations might be scared of.
Right.
Compared to not having magic. I mean, it would be kind of a sense of sorcery to them, but obviously not a real sorcery.
Right.
But obviously, as you get farther, you'll have gunpowder, everything like that. Forging will always still be, you know, a thing. Side quests. There are going to be the stupid ones that, you know, you gotta go collect pelts and stuff. But instead of having 30 different side quests to find, you know, wolf's pelts, then fur, then teeth, you get to do it all in one lonesome. And every fucking... like, every animal would have their own things that they drop, like always hearts, always their pelts, bones, you know, stuff that they would actually have on them. Just like killing a human, you'd be able to steal his loot, sorcerer, their loot, a dryad, their loot, you know, so on and so forth. They're actually going to be able, you know, you're not going to find a wolf that has a broadsword sticking out its ass, apparently, because that's the only way it's going to hold it if it dropped. There will be higher side quests, though, that you can reform to try and get different item-specific class clothing or weapons. That way you could try and change out. You could, your skill tree is going to be massive, obviously. You could go down this side, which is going to be all melee, this side, which is going to be, you know, all magic, this side, which is going to be like future tech, or this side, you know, so forth. But they're all going to meet in the middle somewhere to give you some kind of advantage, or if you want to have a mixture, obviously you can mix and match. Also, your attributes are going to be a major part. That would kind of go back to the whole clothing. Your attributes would affect how much you could hold, which could increase your training with your weighted clothing if you are wearing weighted clothing, or whatever your job is, to even help in that. Because you don't always have to be combat based. It is required to have some combat to defend yourself, but if you're going to be a store owner, I say have at it.
Okay.
What else? Not sure exactly what the whole... I mean, it's a whole traveling game, so I don't think there is a specific bad person. It's just kind of whatever era you're in, you get to try and choose what to do in that era and see what it's going to do in the long run to you. It's pretty much my game in a nutshell.
All right. Well, everybody, I'd like to say that this is Nick LaRocco's idea for a game. It's called A World Through Our Eyes, a game where you get to alter history and see what would happen if certain things happen. According to our very own Kitten of Doom, I foresee a very chaotic game with Necro's ideas, but it would be an interesting play.
Well, thank you, Ken.
So, with that, I guess we're stuck with just one person left to voice their game. So, give me a second, if you will.
Oh no. Oh no.
Y'all, me lads and lassies, get ready for a tale. Close your eyes and imagine a world of endless blue, where the only thing between you and the next land is an endless ocean. Yes, this is the game I have in store for you. Treasures abound, pirates everywhere. Will you make your life as a noble pirate, an evil pirate, or perhaps a member of the Navy stopping pirates? Perhaps you feel yourself being a store owner, a samurai, perhaps a ninja. Who knows? But I'll tell you one thing. Here's how my game begins. I know I need a pirate hat, but this is my frickin' Ushanka. It's even better. Ushankas are better than pirate hats. Don't you start with me.
No, you're talking about pirates.
Alright, everyone hates the Ushanka. Fine, I'm taking my Ushanka off. Fine. I'll just wear my... No, you hate it. It's too late. It's over. The Ushanka's gone. Ushanka's gone. Alright, folks. For my idea of the game, it's kind of a little different. Graphically, if you want to look it up, look up a game called Dragomon Hunter. It's a very cutesy anime-type game. However, graphically, it's not only it's a lower graphic game than what you would imagine. However, it fills with plenty of color, plenty of vibrant energy, and a lot of difference. Now, sorry, I'm looking at you in the background over there, Necro. Imagine, if you will, you're asleep in your bed. Your bunkmate comes and wakes you up and tells you, hey, it's time for you to wake up. At this point, the decisions begin getting made in your game. Now, you go to a screen where you can choose your race. One of 10 different races. I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but each one of these races will have a different advantage and / disadvantage. Some of them are great swimmers, some of them are great thinkers, some of them are great artists, some of them are great fighters. You'll have to find out on your own. From there, you'll design your character. But that's not where it ends. Now, time for you to design how you want to start your life off. Are you a person on the streets? Perhaps you have a family. Perhaps you're an only child. Perhaps you've already begun working for the Navy and you're a low rank. Perhaps you're a pirate's cabin boy. Perhaps you want to start off learning from a master on one of the different islands. Perhaps you're lost ashore. Perhaps you just don't know and want to be put somewhere randomly. These are all choices that you'll be allowed to do from the very beginning of the game. You get to choose your age. You get to choose your adventure, your sex, everything. It's up to you. From the very beginning, you'll be able to make a decision from there. The decision is simple. Do you want to go through the tutorial, or have you already been through this dream? If you click you've already been through this dream, the game starts there. You'll be where you start off at your start-off location. You won't have a lot. Just the bare essentials, clothing, food, and maybe a bit of pocket change. Who knows? However, go through the tutorial, you'll pick up some more stuff depending on where you are. Of course, starting on different points will give you certain advantages and also certain disadvantages. It's highly chosen to go through the tutorial, however, it is not a requirement. From there, the world opens up to you. The world of 100 islands. In this world, you start off in a wonderland of choices. A wonderland where anything and everything is possible. Sea monsters lurk the ocean waves. Great pirates along. There are monsters and demons within the very islands themselves. Some islands are unexplored. But no matter where you do, you'll always start off with something called the Echo Rock. The Echo Rock is a small cube that you can never sell and holds no interest into your inventory. You don't have to worry about it. But what it does is it allows you to do something that I think is a very good idea. It allows you to enter a pocket dimension. Your pocket dimension. In your pocket dimension, you can build your own house, you can set up food, you can set up storage. You can do 100 different things, as long as you're able to use an Echo Stone. Of course, you'll have to be on an island to use an Echo Stone. That's the downside. You can't use it while you're out at sea. You can't use it while you're in the air either. I'll get to that in a minute. From here, the decisions start on an amazing scale. I don't exactly use a leveling system. I use what I consider a life system. What this life system is as you perform deeds, as you perform experience, as you perform actions, you'll get a series of things that are called knowledge points. And, of course, you'll also get a series of things called BP, or body points. Now, obviously, if you're doing a lot of running around and a lot of jumping and a lot of fighting, obviously your body points will build up faster. But then, of course, you also have your knowledge points, which will also build up if you're doing things such as reading books, performing deeds for like charisma-based things, helping people out with quests, that kind of deal. Now, these points are very important, because not only are these points used to build up your character's stats, physical, mental capabilities, but you also require these to be able to learn your various skills. I do not have a job class system in my game. If you want to learn to be a sword fighter, you have to find a sword fighter. Now, I'm not talking about a player character sword fighter, because that would just be stupid. What I'm talking about is you'd have to go to an island and look for a sword master, and perhaps he would train you at the beginning on a few basic moves. But as the skills get higher, you need higher levels of body points, or perhaps even mind points, to learn new techniques and new skills. But I'm not stopping at just sword fighting. I'm talking about sword fighting with several different styles. Perhaps on this island they teach the kendo sword style. Perhaps over here they use the bantai sword style. Perhaps over here they use the crane style of fighting. Perhaps over here they use a type of bochoke style of fighting with bow staffs. Perhaps there are multiple styles and multiple ways of doing each. And you can learn certain abilities from them. You get to choose which one of these skills you want to learn. A backslash or an upper slash, a stab, a thrust, a block, a deflect. That's up to you. You get to make the game. You want to learn how to cook. You're not going to be able to cook from the very beginning. I mean, geez, you might boil some potatoes. That's pretty easy stuff. But you're never going to get to the level you are unless you learn. The game will require you to use your learning points to learn new exotic skills. Everything you do in the game will have an effect on you later on in the game. So, for instance, if you specify and say armor, I'm going to use the armor system, and you become a really great armor smith. Well, it's not just about making armor, okay? Anyone can throw a piece of metal in front of your chest and say it's going to block a sword. But it's up to you to go in and decide how the armor looks. You can actually there will be a program in the game that you can actually design how your armor looks. Attach tassels, attach beads, shape the armor how you want to shape it. But here's the thing. Depending on how you shape the armor will also tell you how much protection it has. If you want your character to be running around in a cast iron bikini, be my guest. But if a swordsman stabs you in the gut, that bikini means nothing to you. You are going to get stabbed in the gut. There's going to be no armor there. You are literally going to get stabbed in the gut.
Yep.
If you, on the other hand, decide to wear a solid chunk of armor, it'll probably slow you down. But it depends on the person who makes the armor. Now, you can go to a regular store, and you can buy regular sets of armor. You can buy a copper plate of armor. Or you can go to one of these really good swords, one of these good shops, where a player has put their blood, sweat, and tears into designing this armor to look great, to have a really cool insignia on it. Maybe they'll cost a little more, but I guarantee you the stats will probably be 1,000 times better.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with the weapons. A short sword is one thing. A short sword is basically a sword blade that's between, I'd say about 10 inches and 14 inches, a nice sized blade. However, what if this guy over here decides to give it a curve, or this one gives it a serrated edge? This one makes it a dual pronged sword. Each of these will have an effect on the blade. It'll alter the damage and alter the effects. You can go out of your way and pick up that regular sword if you want, or you can take it to one of these master smiths who spend their days leveling up their equipment, going on adventures to get the best of the best, and sell it to you so you learn. Now, I'm not going to let people sell for outlandish amounts. All right, there will be a middle ground where the game will allow you to sell the blade based on your enchantments or not. And yes, you could be the guy who always sells it for the highest price. But be careful, because the guy in the shop next door to you, he might not be. But it goes from there. Armor and weapons, your skills, jumping, weaving, sneaking, will all require you to be trained. You'll have to learn. You might have to purchase books to read in order to learn how to do these skills, or seek out these masters. But you'll never have to worry about having a max level. Your stats are based on what you build yourself up to be. Everyone will start off at the same. Like I said, perhaps one race will be a little physically stronger, and maybe one race will be a little mentally stronger. But that will not change much. You'll have that much of an advantage, and it all depends on what you want to do with the game. You can go from there. From there, you get to make a really easy decision. Take the life of an adventurer, or take the life as a shopkeep. There's nothing wrong with being the shopkeep, because the shopkeeps are the ones that are going to keep the adventurers alive. And your name is going to go up in lights. But it gets further than that. My idea for the game goes even into more detail. Perhaps, just maybe, you're an artist, and you enjoy your artwork. You draw it up, but you feel that you just don't get a lot of attention for it. And I understand how that feels, because, I mean, we're YouTubers. And I'm sure anyone who's listening to this, there's artists out there, there's writers out there who feel the same way. You feel that perhaps you're just not being seen. Well, worry not, my friends, because in my game, you will be seen. You can purchase a studio and sell your art. You can sell your stories. You can sell these things for a minor amount of real-world gain. Yes, you heard me correctly. Real-world gain. The game, of course, our game will take a little bit of that money to keep it running, but you'll get a portion of that. People will come to see your artwork. Your artwork, which can be put up on walls, or perhaps even turned into pirate flags. Perhaps somebody founds a kingdom on one of the 100 islands and decides to use your artwork as their main royal insignia, or perhaps your own music. Yes, I'm even going as far as getting your own personalized music into the game. Let people hear your music. When you enter one of these 100 islands, I call them the 100 islands, but there's actually more than 100 islands, which are actually the wormhole worlds, as I mentioned earlier, which you can enter by going to one of the 100 islands. And you enter this world where people can go, people that are part of your friendship, people that are part of your party, and enter this wormhole world of yours, which is, of course, going to be held off the main server, so you don't have to worry about it draining a lot of the server. They'll be able to go in, and when they enter, they'll hear your music, or the music you choose to be playing. You'll be able to have your type of ground. You'll be able to choose what kind of building code you have. Perhaps you like feudal Japanese or Korean. Perhaps you like African art. Perhaps you like the idea of a Brooklyn-like world, or perhaps you like old ruins or a bunch of stones. These are things that you can do. And these little mini-worlds, or the hundreds of islands, as I like to keep calling them, will be where you can express this. You can bring on your friends' artwork and sell it and give them the money. You can go and put your poetry up to the world, and they won't know who you are. They just know who your character is. You don't have to worry about rejection, and maybe that could help you become something. People are afraid to share in this world. I don't want that. I want these people with all this skill and all this talent to be allowed to be on this world. I can't draw for shite. I honestly can't. I can't draw to save my life. Look back at some of my videos. Look at my top 10 lists. Oh my goodness. I've been asked if they've been in horrible car accidents. Trust me, they haven't. But I would love to see some of this artwork. Maybe you could give some out for free and some for that. I mean, I'd come up and I'd buy a pirate flag off you just so I could sail that sucker on my flag in this colorful world. But that's not even the best part of it. I'm just getting to the bare basics of my idea of this world. So this is how I like to spend it. Build your own specialized weapons. Build your own armor, your own footwear. Equip your world with libraries and trainers to train in what styles you want people to learn in. And then, just then, realize that you have such a hold of this world, because what we want is we want feedback. We want to hear what the players want. Because I don't believe in downloadable content. Because DLC is just a way to make a lot of frickin' money, and I don't need that in my game. I need people to want my game to be the best that it is, and I can't do that without your help. And you, of course, being the person I'm selling it to. But it goes to a step beyond that. It goes to a step where everything you do should come back to us. If you feel that something is wrong with the game, I mean, I'm not talking about nerfing, because that's something else I'm not going to do. I'll take a bat to somebody who wants me to nerf the game, because that's just stupid.
Because they're having too much of a hard time.
Oh, I'm having too much of a hard time. Then get better. Okay, so she asked, okay, I like your idea so far. Would characters be able to get robbed, shops burned, and attacked in higher level attack and low levels? Okay, actually, let me continue with that, because that's actually something I was going to go into. You see, yes, you can choose to be a bandit. Yes, you can choose to be a pirate. And yes, if you are of a certain level, yes, your shop can be attacked. However, it's also based on the level of the pirate. You're not going to have a high-rank pirate, I'm just going to use the ranking system, attacking your low-rank shop. And even if they burn your shop or burn your village, you won't lose everything. It'll be a temporary disability, basically. Because in your pocket world will slowly regenerate itself. However, for instance, let's say that they burn your docks. Well, until your docks are repaired, you won't be able to land any ships by your safely at least, by your island. If they burn down your dojo, perhaps people that were coming there for experience will not be able to get that experience anymore. If you get robbed, people might be able to take your technology. They might actually be able to take some of your cheaper artwork. All right? There is a cost and a reward for this. However, that's up to you. You can decide who's going to protect. You can decide who your town guards are. You can hire on NPCs. That's another important thing about my game. Hiring on, building, or summoning NPCs. See, in my world, the world of 100 islands, magic is real, but so is technology. You can have golems guarding your town or wizards. A pirate isn't going to just attack a random village. They're going to only attack ones that are worth it. Because if you go attacking somebody who just started up an island, you're not going to get anything. You get very little from that. The thing is, you got to be careful when you get a name for you. For instance, let's say that you create armor that is so good that people will actually come from other islands to purchase your armor. Well, guess what? That makes a name for you. And that means that the pirates and the bandits are going to come looking for you. They're going to want that gear, and of course they're going to want the money. It's up to you to protect it, though. Now, I do have a rule, though. If you go offline, your little mirror world of the island goes into a safe mode, because your echo cube shuts off. That's an important thing that I decided on, because I would hate to have your city get attacked while you're offline. However, I also have a rule where it takes an hour for your world to shut down after you go offline. This is to keep people from instantaneously seeing bandits and just cutting out of their game. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't be fair to the pirates or the bandits either. However, your world is safe, and you're safe. Now, the other thing you have to be careful of, like Kitten of Doom mentioned, is getting robbed. You're going to be able to learn to pickpocket, you're going to be able to learn to steal, and you're going to be able to be a bandit. However, every time you do a negative act, it's caught. It will be noticed by the world government. I'm just using that term for now. They have surveillance everywhere using magic. Now, for every bad deed you do, you'll begin getting a bounty put on your head that people who want to be bounty hunters can take. Likewise, for every good deed you do, you might actually get something mentioned which I call a head count. For instance, if you work for the Navy, which are going to be the main good guys of the game, quotation marks in the air. Being a part of the Navy means that you'll be watched constantly. And you do more good deeds, you get higher up in the ranks. The higher up the ranks, you get a salary, I guess. And benefits the higher up in the ranks you get. And the longer you hold ranks. Until you get to real high levels. Now, of course, there's going to be different parts of the Navy for different parts of the world. But the same thing goes for pirates. You want to be the best pirate there can be sometimes. You want people to fear your name. Well, here's the thing.
King of the pirates.
The longer you're a pirate, the higher rank you are, the better your bounty, you'll begin collecting benefits. Perhaps you'll be able to steal more. Perhaps you'll have enemies who will actually become weakened because they realize how strong you are, how scary you are. Your pirate name and your pirate crew will be built up in the annals. And at the end of every month, the top 10 pirates from each of the realms, I'm calling them realms because I don't believe that you should have 1,000 people on a realm. But for each of those realms, they will be given bonuses. These bonuses will be in the way of perhaps benefits, better gear, better items, or perhaps even wanted levels. Now, the higher your wanted level, of course, the better your stats become. However, there's a flaw. If you're taken down, if a bounty hunter takes you down, or if the Navy arrests you and catches you, you will lose everything. You will go back to being a 0-rank pirate. You will lose all the perks, you will lose all the bonuses, and if people are on your crew, your friends, and they decide that they're going to fight back, they might lose too, or they might just abandon ship. Now, if they abandon ship, they'll lose half their bounty, but they'll keep their pirate scores. However, as the captain of the ship, you can't abandon ship. Well,
the captain goes down with his ship.
Because if you abandon your ship, you will also lose all your ranks. But this also goes for those who are working in the Navy. The Navy, on the other hand, have to be the guys that are hunting the pirates. They have to be the guys that are looking for the pirates. They have to be the guys that are looking to protect people from bandits and from all the villains. And not only that, but they're also going to have to take care of monsters, as will the pirates. See, taking down a high-level sea monster will instantly make you a little more threatening or a little bit nicer. People are going to want you to be hunting them down. The higher your levels in the Navy go, the better your benefits, the better your prizes, the better your stats. This also works for armor smithing, crafting, artistry, architecture, you name it. The higher up you get, the better your perks get. This game is all based around you choosing how you want to live the world and being benefited for it. Now, of course, you could be the standard jack of all trades. All right, you can be him if you want, and go ahead. You could just be a person who's adventuring and having a good time. But you could also be the person searching the depths in a submarine that you found or that you designed. Or going through sky islands. Yes, sky islands. Islands literally in the sky. Being held up by really thick clouds. Yes, and I got the idea from One Piece. Yes, I'm not going to lie. You'll, of course, have to explore and find the parts to make airships. And you'll have to explore and find the parts to make submarines. That'll be part of the game. Because even the pirates are going to want to explore. You're going to want to be the best. But remember... so Kitten asks, so what if a player doesn't want conflict with other players? So as if they want to go into the game and learn but not fight or be attacked. Then you're in luck. You see, there are 3 types of servers in my game. The servers are, of course, PvP. These are the servers where, of course, pirate wars are going to happen. Pirates going to be able to invade, and yes, they'll have to defend themselves. Now, of course, once again, you have the choice to defend yourself or not. That's up to you. The second server is the PvE server. This is the server where points and everything will be made by taking down NPC pirates, NPC bandits, and monsters, but you'll never have to worry about your town getting attacked. This is for the people that want to show off their artwork, who don't want conflict, who just want to be people that want to learn and be better. And you know what? That's a great server to be on. But then there's the third server. This server is called the Black server. The Black server is for those people that break the rules. For instance, people that are vile, people that are swear-happy, people who are just disgusting or pick on players, raid players, villages who they don't need to. See, the thing is, I want my admins to be watching at all times and see this happening. That's why I want to limit the number of players per server. That way the admins can actually watch what's going on. However, the true thing comes in that there are people that will try to steal, there's people that's going to try and rob, and there's going to be people that try to cheat the system. What's going to happen is the admins who find those people are going to go straight to their seat, are going to actually use coding. You'll actually have to give permission for us to be able to use the coding system to be able to find your exact router ID number. And what we'll do is we'll instantly transfer that entire computer system, that entire ID, which means your entire cable system, to that Black system, where you'll only be able to play on the Black server with other people just like you. This also includes people that want you to pay them to go and collect gold for you, or as we like to call them, gold farmers. No, we'll immediately eject them to the Black server. That way they can do what they want still, but they're amongst their kind. Learning is another important thing. I'm glad the Kitten actually brought it up. Another thing you can do is that I had the idea of perhaps having a studio where you could actually have people go in and you could live stream or show how to draw better, or perhaps how to write better, or perhaps artistic talents or sewing. Just something that you could do, something that you would literally hook up to your Twitch or YouTube account. So you could go in and you could view these videos. And if these people wanted to, they'd be able to donate money to you. Another way for people to make money and enjoy the game. Not to mention the money they make will also go towards our game. We can keep the game going. But let's go even further into the game, because I'm not even touching the beginning. We got one more big detail I got to go through. This is the most important one. You see, in this world of the hundreds of islands, there exists treasures. Now, of course, these treasures aren't your usual treasures. These treasures are elite. These are treasures that will help your cities, or help your ships, or help you. Legendary ships, legendary mounts, legendary equipment that's hidden. Perhaps it's below the ocean, perhaps it's above, perhaps it's in caves. You won't know. But that's up to you to explore. But you don't have to. You can be the gardener. You can be the guy who's growing on a magnificent garden and then taking that and creating food and selling that food to players to give them bonuses. You can learn to be the best cook. Not only that, but you could hook it up to your channel of, like I said, YouTube or Twitch, where you could show off real-world cooking skills so people could learn. You could be the best cook. You could be the best clothier. You could be the best haberdashery, the best shoemaker. You can be the best, or you could just learn skills to make yourself better. The whole point of the game is to choose whether you want to be part of it or not. Now, obviously, if you're not the best of anything, you're really not going to be on anybody's radar. So if you're just playing the game to have fun, you're probably not going to be targeted because it's not going to be worth it. In fact, if you're a high-ranking pirate and you attack a low-ranking player, that's actually going to look really bad on you.
Yep.
You're going to want to hunt players that are near your level.
And make you look like a jerk.
Oh, and Easter eggs? Yes, Easter eggs will be available on all servers. All three types of servers, and on every server. Where Jared has the regional lock, which I like, it's a good idea. Mine does not. Certain holidays will have certain events, but also certain events will happen. If I can get a hold of certain companies, for instance, Sega, I'd like to put some certain Easter eggs in. Easter eggs will be found on certain islands, and they'll have certain quests. The quests will always have some kind of benefit to you. Not to mention that every time you go on a quest, obviously you'll be gaining body points and knowledge points, which can go to make you stronger. Like I said, no experience points are in the game. You don't need those, because what you're doing is you're just trying to make yourself bigger and better. What we have instead is we have the aura system. Every player will have an item on them called the aura scope. What you'll be able to do is activate it and look through it, and it'll tell you the aura based on you. How strong is this person compared to you? Depending on the size of the aura, depends on what you want to do. Do you want to fuck with this person, or do you want to leave them alone? As far as Easter eggs go, one of the Easter eggs could be a scouter mission, wink, from a certain game, movie, anime series called Dragon Ball Z, where you could literally go around until you find a monster or a character who has a strength over 9,000 and get a benefit for finding it. But I had other ideas. I have an idea for journalists to be in the game. Now, what these journalists will do is they'll be players who specialize in finding things and taking pictures of them. The better the picture, of course, the more points you'll get. For instance, you're a journalist and Black Bart shows up in one of the villages. Well, you take a picture of him and you send a message to the server through a series of events, and after a few seconds up in the server on different bounty boards, it'll say, holy crap, Black Bart number 2 on the list has come to this island. Well, guess what? You get points for it, and Black Bart has to watch his arse.
Yeah.
But also, if you're walking around, you find a legendary animal, or a legendary sea creature, or you watch a legendary sea creature eat somebody's f***ing boat. Take a picture of it and run. What I'm saying. As far as Easter eggs, though, my idea is a series of them. First, there's going to be the seasonal ones. Perhaps you'll help Santa Claus deliver presents to different islands. That's a simple one. But I don't just have seasonal ideas for just American seasons. Perhaps, for instance, Boxing Day from Canada. Or Chinese New Year. I have ideas for all of these events, but also for certain birthdays. For instance, the Gate event, which will only happen 2 days before, the day of, and 2 days after the Bill Gates' birthday, will be one of the live events where you'll be able to go and find perhaps some heavy money loot. Or perhaps the birth date of, say, Nintendo's original creator, or Sega's original creator. Perhaps I'm talking very important birth dates. But not just that, I'm also talking character birth dates. For instance, the first year that Mario came out might have an event where you're able to go and find a special pair of boots that allow you to kick harder.
Or maybe mushrooms that will make you farm better or something.
Right. Or perhaps an event where the gods show up and a certain chain sword wielding nutcase with a bald head and a bunch of scars, pitch white, will show up and scream that he is the god of war and he needs your help to fight them. Of course, these will be giant world raid bosses. And when you win, perhaps you'll get an item like the Chains of Almost Olympus. Because you can't really have the Chains of Olympus because he's not going to give them to you. But each of these events will give you better gear. But also, once again, as you're going through them, body points and mind points to help boost your strength, boost your skills, and boost your stats. This way, no matter what you're doing, you can constantly get yourself higher. Now, of course, once again, you'll need more of these points to get higher and higher, of course. You're not going to be able to learn an elite sword skill with one body point. You'll be able to learn how to swat at somebody. You know. But, like I said, everything you do, for instance, as you're crafting gear, you'll be able to pick up these points. And if as you're fighting, as you're exploring, as you're learning new things, as you get higher up on a bounty board, all these events will happen to you. But now, let's trade off of the gameplay a second for the graphical and musical interface, shall we? Graphics-wise, the game's going to be very bright. I like bright colors. However, that also depends on you. Your world will be able to be whatever color you want. Like I said, perhaps if you choose, say, Japanese architecture, your world would be green and white, which is a common color. And it'll have Japanese sloping roofs and perhaps lion dogs and stuff like that. Or perhaps Eastern. Or perhaps you'll go around and find an architect that has a really cool style. Somebody who actually is designing their own style, and you can buy it from them and build your world out of that. The coloring of your world will be up to you. What color you make your armors, what colors you make your weapons, what colors you make your gear are all up to you. However, this will also have an effect towards combat. We'll get to that in 1 second. The big thing graphically is the coloring, but also weather. I had an idea, now this is stupid of me, but I had an idea where we take the past 100 years of weather from, say, the Caribbean, or another one of the large island chains that are in the real world. Find what the weather was like and have that circulate the world. What that does is gives you a feeling of realism, but also gives you the weather. Now, the weather will have great effects. For instance, if you happen to take a barrel outside or a pot outside during a rainstorm, it will slowly fill up with water. However, it'll also help you like grow your crops better. But if you're aboard a ship and it starts to rain heavily, you might have to worry about bailing your ship out. You might have to worry about pulling your sails. You might have to worry about heavy winds, snow, lightning strikes, hail, sandstorms in the deserts, typhoons and water spouts. This is the kind of thing you have to worry about, because not only is the game against you, but the whole world is too. If it's raining on this day, it might rain in your world, depending on where you choose to be in the 100 Islands. Because if in that part of the world it was raining that day, it's going to be raining in your island. And that's going to have different effects. For instance, I always love how in movies or video games it can be raining heavily, and you pick up your gun and you aim down the scope and you can see perfectly through the scope. Folks, in real life it doesn't work that way. That good old magnifying glass you're using as a scope will magnify those water drops and make it a hell of a lot harder to see somebody. But this also goes to walking through a forest. If you're walking around in bright red armor, it's going to be kind of easy to see you. If you're walking around in greenish armor, it might not be so easy. One of the things I've also decided on is mood music. Now what this is you take music from anywhere. I mean, you can take it from the game or you can take it from the real world and go into your settings and choose certain music to play during certain events. For instance, if a really heavy storm comes down, perhaps the first hint of it will be one of your people screaming there's going to be a storm coming. And then as the storm approaches, perhaps you feel just for shits and giggles that Here I Am, Rock Me Like a Hurricane starts playing on a loop. Or perhaps you start going into battle and you decide that the Final Fantasy theme music goes in when you're fighting. These are up to you. And once again, you can go purchase other people's music or just bring it into the game. And you can choose whether or not you want other people to hear the music. And they'll also be able to choose to, like if they're part of your party, they'll have to choose if they want it or not. Now, of course, if you try to live stream or record this, you'll have to have the right copyright paperwork, so we're not going to go into that detail there. However, in the game itself, I want like orchestralic music. I want music that is playing from beautiful instruments. And I want the instruments to differ depending on where you are in the world. Obviously, if you're in a more Asian-themed area, more Asian music. If you're in a more Russian-themed area, more Russian music, etc. Also, if you choose to, you don't even have to listen to that music. Just plug in your own or just choose not to have music. Each area will be themed based on a different area, and each area will be important in its own way. As far as quests go, quests will not just be your simple go get me 5 wolf pelts, because honestly, that's something you want to do to collect for yourself. You want to go collect those wolf pelts so you can go make yourself better gear or sell it. You're not going to want to go give it to somebody to sell for 5 gold. No, that's not how it works. Quests will be things such as hunting down dangerous monsters or bandits, or perhaps going to this location with this bit of information, and perhaps you'll learn a new schematic, or you'll find a book that helps you learn a skill better, or perhaps you'll learn a skill. I don't like the idea of the whole fetch quest idea. I do still like delivery quests for a little bit, because in this idea of the game, you'll actually be able to go out and see better graphics. And with that, your quests will also be based on what you're capable of. Obviously, if somebody looks at you and says, yeah, you're not a fighter, they're not going to walk up to you and ask you to be Giggly, the two-headed dragon of fire and candy.
Giggly.
I'm just throwing out names here. However, if they see you with a bunch of body scars, giant rippling muscles, and an anchor thrown over your shoulder, they might not ask you to make them a pretty dress for the prom. Okay? How you dress your character and how you equip your armor is one important part of the game, because you'll leave yourself open for weak attacks. And you might ask what I mean by attacks. Well, let's get into the combat phase of my game here. Now, combat goes a little differently than the other games. My idea for combat is that there is no true lock-on system. Yes, you'll be able to lock on to who your opponent is, but it's not a game where you two are just winging blades at each other until somebody falls down. There will be physics involved. If both of you swing your sword and they connect, you're not going to damage each other, you're just going to knock the blades back. Remember when I was telling you earlier about learning different skills from different swordsmen? Well, there'll be a series of keys that you'll be able to hit, probably the keys that you never use, like the number keys or something like over here, which will automatically activate one or more abilities that you have set up in a combo chain or a set. For instance, somebody comes at you with a sword, and you want to block high, you'll choose one of your techniques that would block high. But perhaps you have a technique where you hit the button and you roll behind the opponent and then thrust. That's part of a combo you can do. Blocking, breaking, deflecting, but it gets better. Let's say, for instance, that I'm fighting against Juggernaut Jared. He's wielding a sword and I'm wielding a club. Now, Juggernaut decides that he's not going to wear any armor. He's going all barbarian on me. Well, if I take that club and I connect to, say, his leg or his knee, kind of like Fallout series, they have their own individual, I'm not going to call them life gauges, but I'm going to call them damage gauges. If I hit you in a leg too many times, it will damage your leg. It'll damage how well you do. Now, of course, you can heal it with magic or items or food, etc., but you can't do that when you're in the middle of combat against somebody who's going to be right up in your face. Casting spells takes time. Pulling items out of your pack takes time. Using gadgets will take time. And during this time, of course, you're not swinging your sword, you're not rolling, you're not deflecting. But it's not just swords play. Clubs, scythes, nunchucks, guns, bows, spears, harpoons. I like the idea of giving a huge mixed bag of weapons for you to use. Once again, if you're a swordsman and you're doing really well and you pick up a battle axe, probably not going to be a smart thing for you to do. However, I also don't believe in weapons having better stats because it's all based off of the weapon you buy and your own body strength. You can swing a weapon at a certain range, of course you're going to be able to do more damage than the guy who can't. But this is all about connecting. In most RPGs, most online RPGs, basically you and your opponent stare at each other and then just beat the living tar out of each other until somebody falls down, goes boom. I don't like that fighting style. My idea of the fighting style goes back to a game called Monster Hunter. Take a peek at it if you don't know what it is. It's a great game. Where if you study an opponent or you study a monster, you'll know its tells. For instance, if a guy grabs a sword and goes like this, he's probably going to be bringing the sword down at you. Kind of time to get out of the way or block.
Or humor in the Conan.
Right, for instance, if you're fighting a particular type of monster and it starts flapping its little ear flaps, it might be about to breathe fire. It's time for you to get out from in front of it. And as long as you're out of the hitbox, you won't take any damage. I like the more realistic idea of the game, where if you shoot at me, it doesn't mean you hit me. You actually have to aim. You actually have to aim at me and shoot. And we're not talking Gatling guns and BFGs here. We're talking ancient technological weapons or some high-tech ones depending on how high your skill is. Mostly we're talking about guns that have the accuracy of a flintlock pistol or a shotgun back in the day. You know, maybe you get a flintlock musket or a rifle, which will give you better stats and better accuracy, but still, you're going to have to aim that gun. And during the heat of a moment, a guy running at you with a knife might make you panic a little. And once again, it's all about the auras, too. Obviously, you're not going to walk forward and stab somebody in the face if they're way stronger than you are. But if you hit somebody in a spot that's not covered with armor, you will deal full damage. This is where it goes back with the idea of armor, because one of the things I truly hate from fantasy, RPGs and everything is the female body armor. I am so sick of this stuff. I really am. A chainmail bikini with a metal thong has as much armor as full plate armor and a helmet. No, it doesn't. It leaves you open to be ripped to shreds. In medieval times, if you ran at me with a thong and a bra, I am going to cleave you in half. I'm going to take my broadsword and go whap. I'm going to take you apart. Of course, once again, a weapon's armor and weight will also affect you. The more you're carrying, the heavier you are, the not as fast as you're going to get. But once again, it goes back to armor. Are you wearing that heavy full plate armor? If so, it's going to take him a lot longer to kill you than if you're walking around in nothing. Also, though, if you're wearing full plate armor on the deck of a boat and you get your ass knocked off, you're probably going to be fucked. Because I also decide that it's going to take time to don and undon armor. I don't like the idea of just being able to switch instantaneously into armor. It's going to take a few seconds to put the armor on. Just like drawing a weapon. You're not going to instantly have your weapon in hand. No, you're going to have to draw the weapon. Or choose which weapon you're going to draw. That's why it's probably better if you specialize in one or two. Also, just because I'm a huge fan of animes like Naruto and Bleach and One Piece, I've also decided to try and see if this game could add certain styles into the game that wouldn't normally exist in real life. Zoro's three-sword style, explosive kunai, bankais. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going that far. But perhaps magic that could alter your weapon into an astral weapon or something. In the end, my game gives you a lot of freedom of choice. But along with the freedom of choice, it also has to give you something that a lot of games don't do nowadays. And this is why I think that it might not do as well as the other two, because this game actually requires you to think. Plan out. The weather, the people, the server will all affect you. It's up to you. It's up to you to exist in this world. The world of Oceania. The world of flowing hope. Which is, by the way, the title of my game. Now, that's the pitch of my game, and I'm sorry it took so long. We're at an hour and 17 minutes. I'm really sorry about that. But I want you to know that if you have any questions about the ideas about our games, for instance, if anything's bothering you or anything you want to talk about, what the hell was that? What the hell was that, Necro? Are you being attacked by the invisible woman or something? Anyway, if you have any questions, or you want to add anything, or you think of any ideas that can make these better, please feel free to send them in the comments. Send us to the email at themodernstersofgaming@gmail.com and put into the description idea for game and then insert game here. We really want to hear your feedback because we have spent 4 episodes now talking about this. And if we get any really good ideas about how to improve the games or any ideas that will boost these games or make us just feel amazing, the things we want to talk about, we'll come back and we'll talk about it again.
Oh, yeah.
This is only the first time that we're going to do this, and we have had such fun with this. I've had a load of fun with this, and I'm sure that a lot of people that are watching have had a load of fun with this. We have Jared's game, of course, which is all based on your decisions to alter the end of the game. So in his game, he actually has an end state. There's an end to his game. You have Nick's game, where you basically are the god of chaos who can go through and screw with time and events and see what a hypothetical thing would happen after that. And you have my game, we have a lot of choices in a cutesy environment with great graphics and great music. But, in the end, these are only dreams. Dreams of a perfect game. A perfect game that may never happen. Unless Sega's listening, of course, in which case I'm right here, Sega. Hi, how you doing? Sega! I think that something the Modernsters of Gaming are going to do is if we ever hit it up, like, really big, like, PewDiePie level, I think we're going to try to get the money together to buy Sega. We're going to try and bring it back. Because I miss the old Sega logo, I miss the old Sega Dreamcast logo. I think there should be a Sega Dreamcast 2.
Yeah.
Or a Sega Dreamercast, or a Sega Deep Dreamcast. Ooh, I like the title. But folks, that's been our spiel. That's been us talking. If it hasn't popped up already, I'm sure that at the end of this video, it'll pop up and give you a choice on which one you feel is the best game. Feel free to pick whichever you want. If you have any ideas or anything, feel free to talk to us. If you know us, or you're, say, I don't know, one of the Modernsters of Gaming, like a certain someone that I know of who's watching this, feel free to come to us with not only ideas to make us better, but ideas for your own game.
A certain feline.
if we get it to the point where we have enough people, or if they give us enough ideas, we'll do another one of these where we'll talk about the other Monsters ideas for a perfect game. But until next time, folks, I'm KaijuK.
I'm Necro Nick.
I'm Juggernaut Jared.
We'll see you in the future. Peace out, everybody.
Later.
Peace.